All right. Thanks to Schmitty. He's inspiring me to make a follow-up video to the Whirlpool oven fix. So thank you, Schmitty. So, if you're new to doing this, you're going to have screws probably on, there's one here and then one on this side, and you can pull this back to get to it. You might have to pull it off to the side. Anyway, once you get those off, this is when you're just pushing up from this point. You might not have the screws, and if you don't, then you're just gonna slowly pry it up like this, but you gotta be real careful because there's a ribbon back here, and you can kind of pull it back like that so that you're pulling it away from the framing. Now this ribbon right here is what you don't want to bend, because this is what's connecting the control panel to the keypad. This is the keypad, this is the control panel. Alright, so you're going to want to make sure that the power is turned off. I didn't right now, but I'm being careful, but please just do that first. Make sure you go to the breaker and find the one, turn it off, and then verify if you're not sure that that was the right breaker by, you can use a meter to put it in here to test. This is assuming that your keypad is off, so you could try opening the door if the light still works, and then if it doesn't, then you know you turn the breaker off. Anyway, what we want to test is if you're having a keypad issue or if you're having a control panel issue. So if you're having a keypad issue, it's likely somewhere along this ribbon right here. You see there's different pathways that go from the control panel into the keypad. It can get crimped, it can get burned, it can just wear out from use and all the heat, the abrasion. So check that visually. A lot of times you probably are going to see something wrong, and if you do, then it's very likely that you're just going to need to replace the keypad. There is no fix to the keypad because as it comes in right here, it goes all behind this molding, this plastic molding, and you cannot get to that. You would have to take off the molding, and it's just not going to happen. So you just got to replace the whole thing, and I will put a link for that from my first video if it's not still there. I mean, if it still works. I think it was around $200. We'll see. It's not a cheap keypad, but it's really all you can do. Now I've labeled these. If you're going to start testing the control panel, you're going to start taking it apart. You want to label the connections. It just makes it easier. I mean, they're all different sizes basically, so you'd be able to figure it out. But if you just label what number goes where, like what corresponds to the actual control panel, because it will have a number, like it will say P23, P25, P19. So undo all of those, and I'll link my previous video that helps with that. Now, this is your main relay. This job is to allow power into this control panel. So whenever these right here are bringing in the main power, then it goes to here and allows power to go to the rest of the smaller components. And so it's a protection measure. Now this is what went bad for me on the control panel. I had to replace both the keypad and the control panel. Well, excuse me. I had to fix parts on the control panel. This is still the original control panel, and you cannot find this control panel anymore online that I could. So at this point, you are forced to fix it or just buy a new oven. Okay, so you troubleshoot this by using a meter and also by listening to see if it still works, because it's actually mechanical. It's partly getting energized by power, so it gets magnetized, and then you'll hear something happen when that happens, if it still works, because there's actually a piece in here. Actually, you know what, I'll go get it. Okay, this is a relay that the cap has been taken off. This is a coil that just has tape around it. If you can kind of see the copper wires underneath it. Okay, so when this thing gets energized, it's moving from that position to that position. So then power is flowing through it. But it has to get power first to magnetize to clamp this down. And if you can kind of tell, it's very corroded right along that little button that actually gets magnetized and closes. So that's probably your main issue. Now it can still be bad in a different way, but the main check is usually the click. I'll link to a video that describes more about how to check it with a meter to check to see if the other part is working right. So one is the click, so it's still mechanically working, and then the other is to see if the coil is basically still good. It's still operating at functional level. Okay. This is a random board that I'm going to use to help give you a better idea of how to do basic troubleshooting on components, right? So this is the relay on this random board, and you see how it's a little smaller, but it's similar to the ones that we saw on the oven board. So you'll want to check that, and I will put a link to a video that helps you check that. It's going to be using a 9-volt battery, so you should have that around. And then you're also going to use a meter, which you should have too. I'll show you in a second. But that will be the two things that you verify that the relay is okay. Hopefully that's all that your problem is going to be. Next step from there is to look for burn marks. So in this case, we have burn marks on the top. You might not always. Let's test the back. There's burn marks on the back too. So it looks like it's from here to here, but you'll also want to check this one to this one too. So that would be the resistor right here, and then this is a diode, and I actually don't even know how to check the diodes. I think you have to use power or some type of battery system, because these only allow power one way. But anyway, you can study depending on where there may be a burn mark on your board, and then just learn how to test that particular component. And again, you're going to need a meter. So you want a meter anyway. If you're going to be a fix-it guy, you need a meter. This is a $30 one. I wish I had bought a more expensive one, because it's just, more efficient to have something that you feel good using and that you want to use. You'll be motivated to use it more. I'm not putting this down. This is a really good one. Still though, I feel like I would be better off with the $50, $60, $70 one. And I'll put a link for one that I think is a good choice, a good start. But it's going to pay for itself many times, both in time and in efficiency. So that's the basic overview. I don't want it to be overwhelming. You want to learn what each component is, resistors, transistors, relays, chips, capacitors. Like, just get an idea of things, and it will help you just feel more confident. But it should work after you fix the relay, if that's an issue, or if you fix any burn mark components. It should actually work after that. The thermal fuse that you're going to see in a minute is separate from the board. It's actually coming out of one of the connectors that go into the board, and it had a slight burn mark on it, and it also did not have continuity. This is a symbol for continuity, and that's just where you're testing power from one side of something. So for instance, from here to the other side, and you'll get a little beep, and that tells you that power is flowing from one side to the other. That's really important. That's a simple way to check certain things It won't work on resistors necessarily all the time. You got to check those with ohms. So this is the ohm symbol, and you got different levels. But there are meters that will automatically test, so you don't have to know each particular number. So that's another reason to get one. So just helps you do some of the thinking for you, which is important when you're feeling overwhelmed about something. But I promise you, if you just keep watching videos and you keep letting it set in and get familiar to you, then you're going to figure it out, and it's going to add life skills to you, and you're going to be glad that you did it. And so are the people around you. They're going to look to you to fix things, and you can also teach them too. That can be fun. Okay, so once you have done the relay, you've put a new one in. If you determine that it was bad, I will put links on where to find this, and you can have somebody solder it in if you don't want to. You can go take it to somebody, but the soldering is really not that difficult. You can practice on something first, watch a lot of YouTube videos, and you will get the hang of it. It's really not that difficult. These are smaller relays. You will also want to check those in a similar manner, and the click is much more faint on these, so they're a bit harder to check. But in my case, luckily, there was no problem, so I didn't have to change them. Now, what ended up being a problem was this guy right here. That is a thermal fuse, and just like it sounds, thermal, like heat fuse, so it has a particular heat setting that if it goes over, it will pop. And if that pops, you're not going to get energy from here to the other side of it, which is up here, and then it flows back up into over here, and then that's going to stop the circuit. It's going to stop the circle, and you won't have a functioning oven anymore because the power circle was severed. So this is all new. Like, this is a clamped spade connection that's put in new. This is a little heat shrink to protect this side of the fuse. Like, there's just bare wire. The fuse has bare wire here and bare wire here. It's been soldered with a little easy connector from the black wire to the other part of the fuse. So that's what's connecting it there. And see how it's coming out of this connection. So that is new. It was popped before. It's new now. It allowed the circuit to be complete again. So that was the only two things from everything that I checked on the control panel. Because at first I just did the relay, and then I checked everything else that I could tell just by visual and by listening for continuity too. Continuity just means you're using the meter to see if there's power on one side of a particular part to the other. And if you're not getting that, then there's an issue. Like, that component is bad, most likely, and you'll need to replace it. Now, actually, I'm remembering I did put in a new resistor just because I wasn't sure. This one right here, and you can tell by the colors if it's the same one. And that's a whole other thing you got to learn about resistors. But if you just match the colors, then you're going to be okay. So, relay, let's just pretend that the resistor was fine, because it probably was, but I replaced it anyway. Relay and thermal fuse was the issue for the control panel. Those were fixed. The oven works now. So, keypad issue is easy because it's just plug and play. And I'll post that video. You just have to take this off. And then, of course, you're going to have to take the control panel off just to get to the keypad. But you take the keypad, put the new one on there, and just plug that in. And then that's all you got to do. The control panel is much more involved. You got to check visually and then with a meter to make sure that all the components are still doing their job. If they aren't, then you got to replace it. That's just all it is. So it's a good opportunity to learn, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.